Punching Up, a Nintendo podcast, is brought to you by you. If you want to learn how to support our show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Punching Up, your bi-weekly Nintendo podcast from Last Stand Media. I'm your host, Dustin, and here with me this week, we have Mama Micah. Hello. How are you today?
Hello. I'm doing very well. Dustin, this is the first time I've seen you since I've bought my new car.
That's
so
right.
Now I'm part of Subaru gang.
The Subaru gang. Yeah.
Yes.
When it got brought up on Sacred, and Chris immediately was like, "Is that the lesbian car?" And I'm like, "Well, kind of. Not that one specifically, but there is something to be said about Subarus in general. But yeah, how are you liking it so far? Not that I know you haven't had it that long, but enough to experience it, right?
Yeah, we've had the car for a week now. I really like it. I was sad to trade in my old car. I mean, that was my first car ever. And it would have been, if I kept it still, it would have been 7 years in July that I had that car. So that was a good chunk of my life. But I love it. It's one of those things that I liked my old car perfectly fine. And then driving something that was just even a bit nicer, you just immediately are like, oh my God, like it's quieter, driving on the highway, the car isn't just so fucking loud. It's a smoother ride. Like everything about it is just like, oh, like my old car, I was so used to driving it. And then just a minimal upgrade. And I'm like, man, this is 10 times nicer than the old car was. So I'm sad to see it go, but also for the people watching the video, I will always have my little yellow Honda Fit. The dealership gave me this adorable little toy when I bought the car.
Very nice.
So I've kept it on my desk, like through all my jobs.
Wow.
And now I still have it. I actually, though, teared up a little bit when I saw it on my desk the other day when I was processing orders. Cause I kind of forgot it was there. It's been on my desk for 7 years, And I glanced at it and I was like, my car, But I'm thrilled with it. Thanks to, the audience, people who commented when I was car searching and kind of reassured me, of course, Dustin and Holly as well, that like the Impreza was a good choice, because once I test drove it, man, I just loved it. I immediately was like, this is the car I'm getting. I didn't want to test drive anything else.
Yeah, the Subarus have a very particular feel for the steering wheel that I really like. And the other funny thing too, you mentioned about like, having the same car for so long. So my first car was a 98 Subaru that was old, real old, like barely worked. And then I had a few other really shitty old cars. My newest car, I think this was of like 5 years ago, was an '08 Subaru. So it was like over 10 years old when I had it. I'm like, man, I'd like to own a car someday that was made in the same decade, like at some point. And so when I got my Subaru in 2020, it's a 2019. I was like, this is like a luxury car to me. It has working speakers. It has CarPlay. It has air conditioning. Like, what more do you need?
CarPlay? It's playing sounds out of your phone?
Dude, there's a touchscreen in the center, you connect your phone to it and it has the navigation. I'm like, man, this is like luxury car status here with the Subaru. So, but yeah, I'm very happy. Real quick too, let me fit Gene. What's up? It sucks. Sometimes you like get into a conversation. I'm like, but we didn't bring in Gene yet. So Gene, I'm bringing you in now. Gene, you haven't driven in a while. Were you like old crappy car status, or ddid you have like something in the middle?
I swear to God, we just had a consultation about this, right, Micah?
We did the transportation.
Yeah. Because when Colin was telling me about getting his car, I was like, oh, we should do a constellation on it. And like, I forgot that we just did one like the week before, like on cars. I did have from 2005. Wait, when did I fucking finish college? 2003. I bought a Corolla in 2002. So I had a Toyota Corolla for my final year in college. I was able to drive in Southern California. I learned how to drive in Southern California. So I don't know how to drive slow. I only know how to drive at minimum 80 miles per hour, because that is how fast you have to drive in California. Otherwise, you will get run over. Brought that car, 2002 Toyota Corolla, all the way back to Guam. had a lot of weird, crazy experiences on it. Got into a couple wrecks. Almost got arrested a couple of times in it. Did get arrested in Hawaii, and then sold it in 2013 for a Hyundai Elantra, 2-door sedan. And then like the next month I got arrested again for drunk driving, so that I had to install my new car with a breathalyzer machine.
Oh yeah.
If you don't know what that is, you can't start your car unless you blow into your car, and then the car will say, "Hey, you're not drunk. Okay, you can drive me now." Have you guys ever seen a breathalyzer machine before?
I've
Not
seen
in real
it.
life.
Yeah, I've seen it on video.
Have
Like
you
I think
seen
I
it?
saw like an Instagram reel where someone was doing it.
Were they humming into it?
No, I'm trying to remember because there's like a camera set up too, so they
There
make
is a
sure
cam-
that
there is a camera set up.
someone else isn't blowing into it for you.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Yeah. Which is weird, because it's like, okay, well, what if like me and my friend, we both climb into the car with ski masks on, and then like my friend blows into it, and then he starts driving, and then I start driving, but it's like you can't fucking tell, because
Yeah.
we both got masks on. Why? Who knows?
Mhm.
But the shitty thing though is that like you actually have to check in every month and upload the footage, and then the courts will look at it and see like if you're cheating or not, which is total bullshit. But also you have to hum into it. You're not just like blowing into a thing like, okay, I can start my car. Like you have to like blow into it and then hum for a couple seconds. So you have to like wrap your mouth around this thing and go oh for a little bit.
Little exotic treatment there for your car. Little mouth,
just a little
mouth play.
ASMR recreation for the pod.
Good.
But I actually had to go on dates with that thing. Like,
No.
like, like, hey girl, come on in. You want to go home? Hold on a second. Let me turn on my car.
Yeah.
All right, baby, let's go.
Yeah, I got to turn on my car in more ways than one. Excuse me while I put my lips on this.
Exactly. They had a preview of my mouth technique already. So.
Oh yeah, good, very good.
Anyways, that's my car experience.
Yeah, cars. It's funny because there's a lot of people that take a lot of like pleasure in their car and having a nice car. And don't get me wrong, I've been in nice cars. The car that we rented to go to New York City was a really nice SUV, and it's because they didn't have the minivan that we requested, so they had to give us the next biggest thing they had. So we got this awesome SUV. It had seat coolers in it, so like I was like cooling off my bum in the front seat. It was awesome. But man, between like car payments and insurance, I'm like, I'm just kind of using this to get around. But to be fair, I was talking about how nice it is to have air conditioning and music in the car. That's a big plus.
That's huge. That's huge. Yeah, when I got my 2013 Elantra, like I got Bluetooth in my car, so like I can play music from my phone in my car. And then this was when GPS started to happen. So the GPS is not in my car, but it's on my phone. So like my car is like talking to me. It was awesome.
Do you ever have one of those tape adapters so you could plug in an iPod, but all you have is a tape deck? Those
Holy
things,
shit.
You could buy the most expensive one or you could buy one for $5. They always fucking broke. And so you're like moving the cable around. You're like, oh, if I tighten a knot, this works here. They're just.
I never understood that. What kind of fucking magic is that? How does the sound from my phone go through this wire into a fucking cassette tape and then plays through the radio? That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, the other thing I really like, we had a Bluetooth car adapter for our last car that we bought real cheap on Amazon. And this Chinese voice would come out of the car. And it was the most stereotypical, like, the Bluetooth device. We would like die laughing, like, oh no. And I'm sure there's people that have that adapter I'm sure there's a million versions that, different companies just like drop ship to get made. If you know about it, hit me up because it's, you feel bad for laughing, but it's also very, very funny. So, but yeah. So yeah, congrats to you, Micah, on the new car. It's exciting. And now you have the eyesight tech too, right? Like the adaptive cruise control.
Yeah,
is so nice.
That's crazy.
Oh.
I don't even know what that means,
Basically, what it does is that you set your speed, and then if there's a car ahead of you, it detects it and will automatically pace you with the car in front of you. So you can kind of just set your thing and then just go. without having to like stop on and off your cruise control all the time. It's
That's crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, it's so nice when you're on a trip.
It's been 9 years since I've driven a car though. That's crazy.
9 years.
Wow.
Dang. Yeah. We Gene, you've been in my car a few times now.
I have. Yeah.
And then we took my car to Colin and Micah's wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And then after, were you in the car when my dad was kind of lit afterwards? And he was like, "Oh, these car doors, they're not big enough anymore." As he was like trying to like get out.
Your dad was so fucking drunk, dude. He was feeling so good. It was really awesome. It's been a while since I've seen someone that drunk before. So
I feel like I don't want to make it sound, he wasn't like throwing up like,
no.
But he was
feeling good though. Like it's been a while since I've seen someone feel that good. It was fun to see.
Yeah.
No, the wedding, some of the fam got crazy. Like my parents like went pretty nuts. You know, what they get back to their hotel room safe and sound, did a little after party, right? Because my sister and her fiance traveled down with them. Mm-hmm. They ended up though, like my sister goes back to her room, passes out. And then her fiance is like, he was still hanging out with my parents. He tries to go to like his room. My sister's not waking up. Like she's gone. All right. And so he ended up sleeping on like the floor of my parents' room because he was like, she's not waking up. I need somewhere to sleep. Like it was madness. Hearing some of the stories from the next day of like my family and be like, man, like the after party. I'm like, what after party? I'm the one who got married. I didn't know about an after party. People were going nuts.
Dude, the after party, we were planning on going somewhere, and then my dad bailed out. Gene, you were kind of like, yeah, I'm good. So it was just Ben and I. And we had like this leftover pack of cigarettes, I think, from a previous trip. We're like, okay, we got to smoke. No lighter. We talked to the hotel. No lighter. So we're like, okay, well, we're going to walk to this gas station.
Holy shit.
Yeah, they had nothing. They're like, well, this is a non-smoking hotel. It's like, yeah, well, we know not to fucking smoke inside. We go to this gas station across like a highway. It's one of those ones that you can't go inside at night. Mm-hmm. And so there was like, we tried to like wave some guy in. We're like, will you sell us a lighter? And he was like, no. I'm like, fuck. Well, we walked all this way and we have no lighter, no way to smoke these cigs. And then we just saw cigarettes. Then there was a guy that pulled up in a car to pump gas, and he had a lighter, and he was a bro and helped us out. So I think that might have been the last. Was it the last time I smoked a cigarette? I might have smoked one in between then at a bar, but that's what you got to do for those kind of lit cigs, dude. A drunk cig, that sends you to another planet. That's
you're triggering me right now.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll stop there for Gene.
This all ties back to the very old constellation where I did your horoscopes. And Dustin's had said, no smoking, you gotta protect your lungs. And we are just monitoring the situation from that point forward.
Yeah, when I was younger, I never considered myself like a smoker. Like I wasn't the type of guy that was going out multiple times a day. It was purely social smoking. And now, yeah, last time I had a cigarette was probably at a bar with a friend. And that was, I think, last November. So it's been a while, and I feel like I'm kind of over it at this point. It sucks. Like you smell bad. It's like, even from the social side, I'd rather have a cigar, I think, at this point. But
I really, really love making out women who smoke. Smoke. You know how the old commercials, they're like, oh, it's like making out with ashtray. I love making out with ashtrays.
So I have never smoked a cigarette in my life, but I love the smell of cigarettes. I think I attribute that though to my parents smoked when I was a kid. They quit when I was like 5 or 6 maybe. But I remember like I associated that smell with people I liked. So it's one of those things that I've never been put off by the smell of cigarettes. I've never disliked it. And like my mom and sister still smoke. They smoke Marlboro Reds, which I think smell really good.
Holy shit.
It's just one of those things of like, I have always liked the smell. And I think it's funny when people are like, oh, it's so gross. I'm like, I think you smell fantastic. But I've never tried it myself.
I feel like not all cigarette smells are created equal either. There's some cigarettes that smell more stanky and like chemically than others.
Like Virginia Slims. Ugh.
Oh yeah.
Old lady cigarettes.
Exactly. Or cool.
You can smell the Werthers.
Cool cigarettes too.
Yeah.
I'm huge in love with that girl in the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer with the American bikini and the mud. It's because you know that her fucking mouth tastes like an ashtray. I'm just like,
oh yeah.
I just like, hell yeah, dude. She's dirty as hell. I want that.
This is why we need smell-o-vision, all right? So that we can actually smell the bar, so that we can smell it when the Yakuza games, when you go to the little smoking area. This is what we need it for.
Oh my goodness. That would be really triggering, like the Yakuza games.
That's true, yeah.
Dude, that's one of the things in Japan is that they're really cracked down on smoking indoors. In fact, I barely encountered anyone smoking the entire time in Japan, which is crazy since so many people smoke there. But I remember crossing at a sidewalk thing, and they had outside of a train station, it was like this outdoor box. I mean, it was open at the top. Yeah. And it was just filled with Japanese people smoking. Yeah, like Korea, it was like they were.
Korea was the same thing too. I went to Korea a couple years ago and I started smoking. They're like, dude, you can't do that anymore. I'm like, what the fuck, really? I was like, in Korea, like I can't smoke outdoors. I was like, no, you got to go in there. And I just see a budget box with a bunch of Asians just crammed in here. Just like, I was just okay.
Yeah, they're in there like cattle. Like seriously, like they were like pretty close together. I was like, damn.
Yeah, totally like just like sardines. Like we're just all in. It's like, you know. Oof.
Yeah, I'll never forget. When I went to Paris in 2002, so I was just a wee lad at the time because my uncle lived there, and we got out at the airport, and I remember being in the airport and just seeing this dude smoking a cig. And granted, this was a little bit after the 90s, 2002, but there was definitely, you weren't going to be allowed to smoke in an airport. And there was a giant sign that was like, no smoking. And my uncle was like, yeah, they just don't care here. They'll just smoke anyway. And I was like, oh, damn. That's pretty cool. Hardcore French. I don't know if they still do that, but I respect it. Just smoke wherever.
There are a lot of places in Korea that would allow smoking indoors. You know, they're not like open about it, but like if you just go into certain places, even here in DC, there's this couple of speakeasy bars that will let you smoke indoors. So.
Yeah, I did go one place in Japan a bar that you could smoke indoors, and it was called the Joker Bar in Kyoto. It was a very, very cool place. It was like a punk bar in Kyoto. And they had like the guy I was there with had like these grape flavored cigarettes, which you definitely can't get here thanks to Obama legislation about flavored cigarettes. But it was great. Great time. Anyway, speaking of cigarettes, this is Punching Up, your bi-weekly Nintendo podcast from Stan Media. We're so happy to be here. Thank you guys for listening. We have a bunch of different things to talk about today. And if you'd like to be a part of the show, we have to talk about patreon.com/LastStandMedia, where you can, of course, write in, which I have many of your write-ins included on this very show. And you can also get early access to this show along with Sacred Symbols, along with Defining Duke, Constellation, Summon Sign, all that stuff. Knockback, it's all there, $5 tier. If you're interested, it's how we're able to do this. So check it out. And if you're already there, thanks. So let's go ahead. We'll get into some of the news. The news, bit scattershot this week. Kind of some weird, obscure stuff going on in the world of Nintendo. Let's start with this, because I saw there was kind of a big hubbub about this. So it's like passively related to Nintendo. And I this is one that I'm wondering if we're going to see Nintendo interject. And that is emulators are coming to the iPhone or iOS App Store. And so Apple has recently updated their restriction policies, allowing for emulators on iOS. And this is from a Verge piece. They say, Apple says those games must comply with, quote, all applicable laws, though an indication it will ban apps that provide pirated titles. The Verge theorizes this could be related to a recent antitrust lawsuit from Apple. The first emulator to hit the store was just, I think last week, it was called iGBA, but it was pretty quickly removed due to the fact that it was basically just a blatant copy of an already established emulator, not on the store, but in like the side loading store scene called GBA for iOS, and it just had ads in it. So that was promptly removed. So we had our first emulator in the iPhone publicly, I guess, in the official App Store, promptly removed. I don't believe anything has been there since. But so this overall is a really interesting change, just because since the inception of the App Store, you've never been able to get emulators on it. This was a thing long touted by Android users, is that with it being such a more big open platform, you can get emulators for basically anything on Android. And in terms of iPhone, or even iPad, whatever, the iOS family, you would need to like mod your iPhone, do the side loading apps in order to get emulators on it. It was always very annoying and able to do it because Apple just simply did not want to allow you to use that. And I mentioned here that the Verge theory involves the recent antitrust lawsuits. The U.S. government is suing Apple over basically some how do you say it? Monopoly-based practices. I can't say it.
Monopolistic, I guess.
Monopolistic. That's it. Okay, yeah, we got it. We got there. So basically, this is a way that they can kind of open up. This is something people want. Eventually, Apple is going to have to open third-party app stores, and that's going to be one of the main things people go to get. So kind of taking this out will hopefully kind of keep people in their minds in the standard app store system. So my question to you guys is, we recently, a few weeks ago, talked about Nintendo going after Yuzu and how they were not happy about a Switch emulator. We kind of talked about the ins and outs of that. And I imagine with this story, Nintendo probably isn't pleased either, being that they have the Nintendo Switch Online service. And primarily, I think people are going to go and try to get Game Boy games on their phone. And yes, the emulators themselves don't provide the ROMs. That's against the App Store policy. But surely it's not very hard to go get them. So do you guys think Nintendo gonna go after anybody? Do they even have the right? Or what are your thoughts overall? Micah, let's start with you. What do you think?
No, this is messy. Only because on the one hand, you say, how many people realistically are actually going to do this in the first place? Like, yeah, I'm an iPhone user. I have zero interest in playing these. First of all, I don't want to play these games on my phone. I don't play mobile games at all. The hurdle that you mentioned before of like, yeah, trying to get any of this shit to work like a normal person doesn't want to do this, isn't very interested. So I don't know. This entire thing to me in the first place is like, I don't know. If Apple, like you said, they already cracked down on the iGBA app because they're like, wait a minute, this is just the same thing with ads on it. I don't see them wanting this to be a problem. I don't see Apple wanting to beef with Nintendo. I think they're going to do their best to try and, I don't know, monitor this, keep things on the up and up. It's just messy. Emulation is just messy. The app itself is not the problem. It's what people do with it. The like Yuzu situation got really out of control because it was like, well, their official Patreon was helping people steal games, basically. That was really the crux of the issue. So do I think Nintendo is going to go after this? Definitely not anytime soon. I don't think Apple wants beef with them. I don't think Nintendo wants to deal with that either. I'm going to hope that everybody just kind of keeps everything as level as possible. But it's just, I don't know. It's just going to be a weird situation. And I'm also just curious how many people are actually interested in this. I mean, like we could say like, sure, within the gaming community, there might be a segment of people that want to do this. But like the actual breakdown of iPhone users who would be interested in this is probably such a small number.
Right. Yeah, it is. I'm trying to think like even because obviously you could use like a touchscreen control and that would be really annoying. But I wonder about people that use like Backbone or something like that, those are the type of people that might be like, oh, well, I have this controller set up already. Maybe I can download Pokemon or, Super Mario Brothers or something and play it here. But Gene, what do you think about this? I mean, Nintendo, very protective and litigious about things. But as we talked about Yuzu, they actually had, right, and Micah brought up like their Patreon and stuff. They had some grounds to stand on, whereas this, they might not like it, but they might not be able to do anything.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do anything because these emulators already exist on the Android store. And Android is arguably bigger than iOS. Well, we can always just say that they're about the same, right? So as an iPhone user, for me, I'm very excited. I'm wanting to hear more about it. I am not against playing phone games. The only reason why I'm against playing phone games and investing too much time in them is because they get delisted all the time. I'm still traumatically impacted by the loss of all my save data for Infinity Blade, the chair game. that was made by Epic Games, Unreal Engine, and awesome combat, and they just killed it. I had the whole trilogy, and I had high level characters, and they're just all gone. So I just don't want to invest in a save file on a phone game. But if I had an emulator, and those files are more permanent, and they're not just going to get delisted or pulled from the App Store, like World of Death in like the Apple Arcade or whatever, or Fantasian by Hironobu Sakaguchi on the Apple Arcade. Like, I would love to finish that game, but I don't. It's just going to be pulled from Apple's just going to pull it, and it's just going to be gone. And all I have is memories, and that's just an awful feeling. So, yeah, if emulation can bring some permanence to actual iPhone gaming, then yeah, maybe I'll just start using my phone as my main driver for games. Who knows?
Yeah. The thing that I keep wondering about is, and I guess this is only kind of related, is that I mentioned I think the number one thing that people are going to do with this is download like Pokemon Red and Blue, stuff like that, Red, Blue, Yellow, some of the earlier Pokemon games, because as it stands currently, Nintendo has not put them. I guess Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, so it's not solely on Nintendo, but these are not on Nintendo Switch Online. And even, I guess, a step further, they could sell them individually as apps, which I could see them doing, or as games on the Switch, and they haven't done that either. The last time we got a re-release of those games was on the 3DS, and those are they just shut down that eShop. So currently, if you want to play those old games, there really isn't a good modern way to do it.
Let's go Pikachu and let's go Eevee are remakes, right?
True. Yeah. So those are remakes. I think that will satiate a lot of people, but I think there are some people that would want to play the original version of the nostalgia.
Me, but I would also play the original one. I would like to have the original one around too, because Let's Go doesn't have like the traditional battle system, actually, right?
Right.
You just have to fucking catch them. You just have to flick them to catch them, which I like. That's totally cool, but
right.
I kind of want to play a Pokemon game now.
Yeah. So, dude, I mean, if I would love for Nintendo, I keep saying Nintendo, but it really is Nintendo and Pokemon Company. I mean, Nintendo doesn't have full control over that IP, so they might want to do it, but the rest of the company doesn't. But being it's Nintendo, they probably don't, because they really don't want to do anything that is fun or good, really, or I guess that the people want that's fun or good. They want to tell you something else is fun or good, which they're pretty good at, to be fair. But
that's the annoying thing. It's like they're not giving us what we want, and then they give us some other thing. And it's like, okay, this is pretty good too. So
right, you're like, well, all right, not bad. So we will continue to keep a lookout on emulators on the iPhone, the iPad. Surely the first one is going to pop up by the next episode for sure, and we'll see how it's received, how people are engaging with it, and how it may or probably not affect Nintendo. Moving on to number 2. I got to give a preface for this one because there is a technical conflict of interest with this, because this person that we're about to talk about is friends with the owner of this company. So friends with Colin. And also I'm 95% sure he's still a patron of Last Stand. So you could say there's a conflict of interest here. We're just reporting and talking about it. It is pretty big news, but I wanted to put that out there just for the sake of transparency. So with that said, the ex-PlayStation executive Gio Corsi has joined Nintendo. So for those who don't know, Gio Corsi was once the head of global second-party games at Sony, and he's now joining Nintendo. He posted a tweet that says the following. He says, "This week, I began my new gig filled with fun and adventure. I've joined the Nintendo of America AAA third-party portfolio management crew to help get teams bring their amazing games to this legendary platform. On a personal note, Papa Mario is very proud. Here we go." And he posts a very cute picture with him and his dad. And so Gio was originally known by fans as the kind of unofficial spokesperson for the Vita. Some of you may remember he had the jersey on. He'd always hold up the Vita at the different events. And I think he had the say like building the list. But I think that was for PS3 in general on PS4. But after leaving Sony in 2019, he became Ilphonic's head of publishing and business development, and then he went to Iron Galaxy Studio as head of commercial. So to kick off the discussion about this, I want to lead with a write-in here from Desquick, who says, "Hello, Brick Fisters. Minor piece of news, but I wanted to give a big shout out to the man, the myth, the legend, Gio Corsi, who just started his new gig at Nintendo on the AAA third-party portfolio management team. Congrats, Gio, from a PlayStation fan. Fond memories of Gio and his Vita. What do you guys think of him joining Nintendo and further bolstering their AAA third-party team? Prep for the Switch 2? Push towards not only being a third-party indie machine? Much love, Ace." So I've said a lot here, so I'm going to hand it off. Gene, let's start with you here. I don't know if you've met Gio or interacted with him in any way. I haven't personally, but obviously I mentioned he's friends with Colin and big in the PlayStation community for many years. So what do you think about this?
I think this is encouraging news. I think that nobody can argue with the PlayStation third-party success. Third party, even this year, is holding on the PlayStation platform. Look at the rest of the slate. There's nothing. There's literally nothing coming out for PlayStation. There's actually more shit coming out from Xbox, which is crazy. But the fact that PlayStation is able to buttress their offerings with games like Rise of the Ronin or Stellar Blade later this month. Yeah, this is exciting, and this is a reason to have a lot of faith in the next Switch platform. It's a very good hire. What else can I say? I don't know that much about him. I don't know him that well. So, but given his track record,
Yeah, for sure. Micah, what do you think about this? Is this a sign that Nintendo's third party is taking it to the next level, and something I think particularly relevant to you, since your primary game time on Switch probably is with third parties, right?
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. I'm hoping that that's what this is going to lead to, because we mentioned it previously. I play pretty much any third party game if it's available on Switch within reason. Not something like Witcher 3, not something like the Batman Arkham Collection. But most games, if it makes sense for me to play it on Switch, that's where I'd like to play it, because it's just, I love handheld gaming. So Gio, of course, being someone who was very big into the Vita, very encouraging, only because I think we all are pretty sure that the next iteration of the Switch will still maintain like that handheld functionality.
Exactly,
but it's like, I'm really hoping now that it's like, okay, well, if we have somebody, another person who's like big into handhelds, right? It just encourages me a little bit even more that we're going to maintain that, because it's super important to me. And it's the reason why I play so much on Switch. But yes, I adore, being able to play, things like Sea of Stars, all my JRPGs, all my long games like that are best for me on handheld. So just more is better for me getting third-party games on Switch, because I'm just that initial investment all those years ago of still playing on my original Switch, it's just paid dividends by now. So that's definitely what I'm hoping. Of course, I pay attention to Nintendo's first-party releases. I'm still waiting for another fucking Yoshi game. All right, they're really upsetting me with this. I need more Yoshi. But when I see things like Persona 3 Portable coming to Switch, that's exactly what I want. That's exactly the place I want to play it. So no, this is good news in my opinion, and not trying to be biased. I have, I've corresponded with Gio before, extremely friendly guy, very kind person. So I'm happy for him on a personal level, and also just happy of yes, a Vita person joining Nintendo. Fantastic news.
Yeah, I think that third party will become increasingly relevant for Nintendo going forward, and Desquick wrote in about pushing towards not being a third-party indie machine. And I wonder if this is, I don't want to say read into this too much, but just about the level of games that the next console will be capable of. If it will be able to play more modern titles that don't necessarily feel extremely compromised. And I'm not saying it's going to be PS5 level, but making sure that third parties are there is going to be really important, because Nintendo knows that even as strong as their first party lineup can be in situations like the Wii U, where third parties dried out completely and they were still 1 foot into the DS and the 3DS and then 1 foot into console, that they were really, really struggling. So to keep up that third-party support is going to be, continually very, very important for them.
I still remember when the Wii U third-party support was, hey, we have Batman Arkham City Armored Edition.
Yeah.
It's like a year and a half later after the game came out. I'm just like, oh my God.
Well, and this is why I am fairly confident that Nintendo isn't going to do a weird gimmick with the next console, only because it's like, you got to stop making things so hard for your third-party devs. All right. Like they look at the Wii U and they're like, and you want us to have people use this gamepad thing and like just in the 3DS. And it's like, and we got to do the dual screen. And I loved the 3DS. Like I was a big fan, but when you look at it from a dev's perspective of like, man, Xbox and PlayStation aren't doing this to us. They aren't making this so difficult. I'd say I really am just, I'm look at the Switch and how easy it is to use. I'm not like the power issues aside. They weren't making you do dual screens and a weird gamepad and all these things. So I feel pretty confident that they're not going to do something bizarre with the next console if they really do want to get more third party, interaction. Because it just is. It's like you can't keep making it so hard for the devs to make their game on one console and then bring it to yours, and it has to be different. It has to be fundamentally different from the other versions of it, aside from maybe just being scaled down in terms of graphics or whatever. I just feel like they need to stop making things so hard.
Yeah, Nintendo learned that lesson the same way PlayStation did during like the PS3 era. The PS3 was notoriously difficult to develop for. So that's why Mark Cerny came out with the PS4 and said, hey, we know it was really hard. So here's a bunch of stuff that everyone can work with. And look at how it turned out for the PS4. And look at how it turned out for the Switch, which is exactly what they did for the Switch. Ironically, I think we have to thank Xbox for kind of standardizing the way some of these machines are being made. The first Xbox followed the DirectX model, which is why it's called Xbox. And then ever since then, it kind of helped standardize development for PC, for console, and I think Xbox kind of led the way there, which is ironic considering now everyone's complaining about having to develop for two different Xboxes. So
right, yeah. I keep thinking about this idea from a few weeks ago about a Nintendo Switch that has an attachable top screen, which is totally anti to what Micah was just saying about making it easy. But I'm like, man, if you could tell developers, it's like, hey, we're giving people the option to have this second screen, and really you can just make it so the bottom screen is your pause menu or your whatever. It can't be that easy. I'm sure it would really fuck things up for a lot of people to support both of them, but I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about the DS and 3DS generation recently, and I'm like, you know what? Two screens was actually very cool.
It was dope.
I love, dude, having like the map on the bottom screen that you can interact with, having those types of things. I was like, man, that was cool. I'd love to see that come back. But you're right, Mike. It would make things very known. Oh, there's the 3DS. That's an XL, right?
This is the new Nintendo 3DS XL. So
I was thinking about the Galaxy version of that the other day.
Oh man,
yeah.
I wish I would have bought that.
God,
that was just
I wish I had that one too.
So gorgeous, dude. Now 3DS. I mean, the prices already on 3DS stuff is going way up. It's so annoying.
Yeah, I feel like an idiot. I should have done like the Gerard the Completionist thing and just like bought like a bunch of games before it all went down. I feel like such an idiot. And now I can't. Now I can't buy any of that stuff. Going back to our I really want to play Dragon Quest V again. But if I want to play Dragon Quest V and buy it on 3DS, I have to spend $500 for the cartridge. Or I can go on iPhone. I can buy the iPhone version. And it's like, okay, I don't know if I can trust Square Enix to keep the iPhone version up forever. You are Square Enix. You are one of the shadiest companies. Love you, Square Enix, but you are a very, very shady company. And I do not trust you. You are two steps away from Ubisoft.
Yeah. I was thinking about Dragon Quest. What's the one that everyone always talks about playing that? But that's not 11. Is 7, right? That's like the second most.
8 is
the
the
one.
8? Yeah, because that's the one that came out on PS2.
Right. Okay. Dragon Quest 8.
Yeah.
I was like,
8 was the one that because it came out on 8 was the console one. It's like, oh my god, a console Dragon Quest again, you know.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I think
congrats.
That's on iPhone too. I think you can just buy it on iPhone too. But
yeah, I'm sure. Then, dude, I think you can buy. You might be able to get up to Final Fantasy IX.
Yeah,
on iPhone.
Too. Yeah.
Which, this is a total side note. Did you see this, Gene, the other day that people were showing that the HD version of Final Fantasy X looks totally nasty, and no one really complained about it because no one like pointed it out for a long time that it's like clearly worse than the PS2 version in terms of like graphics and shading, like character models.
Yeah, it's awful. I think people pointed it out when the remasters happened, and then people just stopped caring because it's like, oh my god, it's FF10, and then, you know, a lot of people discovered FF10 through these remasters too in recent years, and it's like you're playing the worst version though. So it's like you're playing Silent Hill 2 HD, but it's like, you know that the PS2 version is the best one. You know, it's awful. It's awful. It's awful.
I've heard the Xbox version of Silent Hill 2 is actually. It has like more content than
Xbox
the PS2
One,
version.
The original Xbox version, yeah. I played that version too. It was good.
And it's cheaper than the PS2 version in the used market, but
yeah.
So anyway, Gio, congrats on your new job, and hopefully you have many exciting things in the works for us for Switch 2. I'm sure you will, and looking forward to seeing that play out.
Also, real quick, I don't see it as in notes, but Nintendo has an indie showcase tomorrow.
Yes,
today.
I have that mentioned later, but we can talk about it now real quick. I just wrote there's a Nintendo Indie World Showcase today for the listeners of it right now in the future for us. And we'll talk about highlights next week. But I was going to ask you guys, Gene, do you think, is this the Silk Song reveal? I mean, it just got rated in Australia.
Rated in Korea, right?
Yeah.
So it's got to be happening, you know. I feel for the Hollow Knight community, you know. A fucking game got announced 5 years ago. 5 years ago. That's like Cyberpunk levels of like development and length, you know.
Yeah.
My buddy Pat said this on his podcast yesterday on Castle Super Bees, but I agree with it. I think we should stop. We should just have a moratorium on game development. No, you get 2 years. You get 2 years. If it's taking longer, too bad. Just put out the game. Just put it out.
Yeah. 2 years.
There's not enough time. Life is short. Fucking finish your games and put it out. You know.
I was just thinking about with the Fallout TV show right now. I was like, man, by the time Fallout 5 comes out, my kid's probably gonna be like 10.
Yeah,
because we still have the next Elder Scrolls to go, and then there's gonna be another 5 years after that. I'm like, well, dang, and I'm gonna be old, and damn, you're right. Though, life is short.
You're gonna be my age. You're gonna be like 40 something.
Geez,
which is ridiculous. That's crazy. You know, like you shouldn't have to wait until you're 40 to play Fallout 5. I'm gonna be like 50 something when I play Fallout 5. You know. I'm gonna be 46 when I play Final Fantasy VII Remake 3.
Yeah, man.
That's an awful thing to think about. You know, no. Take 2 years. Take 2 years. You didn't finish the fucking mini games? Oh, too bad. Just fucking ship it, you know?
Just ship it broken. It's fine. You can fix it later.
Sorry, you should have prioritized snowboarding. Hurry up, you know?
Dude, the snowboarding. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
In Remake 3. But okay, moving on to the next news item here. Nintendo not going to Gamescom this year. And this was from a German site called Games Workshop. I have no good German pronunciation. This was translated, though, by Video Game Chronicle. From Nintendo, they said, quote, Gamescom is a central event for Nintendo in the event calendar. However, this year, after careful consideration, we have decided against participating in Cologne. Players can try out the games for Nintendo Switch instead as part of their other Germany-wide events. So, Sean Mason wrote in to us about this. He said, hey, puncher-uppers, with the news that Nintendo is skipping Gamescom this year, should we be worried about the potential Switch 2 reveal this year? Best, Sean M. So yeah, this is, I mean, Gamescom usually takes place, it's in the summer. Let me look. So that's in August this coming year, and they are skipping out. Micah, what do you think this means for Nintendo's overall strategy?
Yeah, addressing Sean's question, what I feel like is happening is that they don't really have anything good to share except Switch 2 items, right? So I don't know when they want to reveal that. Maybe it'll be post September. But if they're like, August is too soon, we have nothing else to talk about, we're going to skip it. I'm not worried that this means like Switch 2 reveal isn't coming this year, but I do feel like the games that they would want to talk about are coming to Switch 2, but it's not official yet. So they're not going to announce it early for the sake of being at Gamescom. I feel like it just means that Switch 2 news is going to be coming in fall. All right, maybe this is our barometer of like, well, if they're not doing an August show, they're waiting till holiday to announce this, and then we'll find out what's cooking. Please, God, let something be cooking over at Nintendo. I've been spooked ever since our last episode when we talked about how the playtesters were like, we haven't seen anything new in a while. And it's like, that's not good. That's not good at all. Mm-hmm. But in terms of their strategy, I'm hoping this just means it is too soon for them to talk about what they want to talk about. And I mean, what are they going to do? Go to Gamescom and be like, Princess Peach Showtime's out? You know, like they're just, if they don't have anything like exciting until Switch 2, I think they're just waiting on it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember because Paper Mario, when does that come out again?
In May?
Pretty soon.
So it comes out. So yeah, Paper Mario will be out, and Luigi's Mansion HD. When does that come out? Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. Because I think that their current slate will kind of be, so that comes out in June 27th. So yeah, the current things they have announced will all be out by then. Yeah. So that's kind of the thing. They're not ready. They're not willing to really show off anything at that point. So you would imagine they still have a few Switch games in the mix before Switch 2. We talked briefly about the possibility of a Fire Emblem remake, maybe, or something else like that. There's that Ocean game that they have in the works too, but I don't know. It's a bit troubling. Gene, what do you think? Is there anything to read into this? And then what do you just think about Switch after we're kind of in that twilight zone at the end of the year after these couple releases come out? It's like, well, are you going to give us anything else, or are we just kind of done now until the next console?
My prediction is that we are done. Clip this, I guess, but my prediction is that they'll announce the next console in the fall and release it in the first half of 2025. So they don't need to show anything because they know that they're gonna have a whole bunch of stuff to show a couple months later. You know, so why spend the money to go to Gamescom at that point? You know,
right? They were just when they were at PAX. I think they just had a Princess Peach. Yeah. And all they had was a Princess Peach Showtime demo.
Exactly.
I think.
Yeah.
And it was like just either, well, no, it was coming out that weekend because it was while we were in New York City that PAX was going on. So, so yeah, it's interesting to still try to read into what they're gonna do, just because it's changing constantly. We're like, please give us something. So we.
It's interesting, man. This year is crazy for all three platform holders. There's not a lot going on. We got Hellblade 2, you know,
and Indiana Jones. Xbox really leading the charge this year in terms of like first party stuff. Ironically, but
they even have a good TV show for once. You know, Fallout.
Oh yeah, I was watching that last night. Yeah, I am. Yeah. Oh, good, Mike.
Oh, no, I was going to say, I have not seen it yet. I have only ever played one Fallout game. I didn't like it, so I didn't get very far.
Which one?
So the show I might check out.
Which one did you play?
I tried Fallout 4 because I remember just everyone being really excited about it. And I was like, oh, I'll try this out. And I just didn't gel with the combat system. I remember just thinking, I don't understand why it's fun. You know, like it wasn't like the story had me interested, but I just remember thinking like as I'm playing it, I don't enjoy this. I'd want to try it again at some point, but it just wasn't for me. I thought the enemies were cool. I thought the world was cool, but the combat, it was honestly very similar to Final Fantasy 15 for me, where I was like, there's something about the combat that I just don't, it just doesn't click with me why this is fun. I'm interested in the story, like despite Final Fantasy 15's unpopularity, like I'm interested in the story. I'm interested in where the Backstreet Boys are going, but I don't understand the combat and like why this is fun. So that was kind of my experience with Fallout. And I am interested in the show though, because I've just heard so many positive things about it, and surprisingly so. Like I was really expecting it to bomb.
Yeah,
Given the response to Halo and things like that, I was like, I don't have high hopes for this.
I feel like Fallout had everything against it. You know, it's from Amazon, and Amazon hasn't been really good at making shows. Jonathan Nolan is hit and miss. You know, he makes really good first seasons, and his shows really start to suck afterwards. And it turns out he's still really good at making really good first seasons with Fallout. So you know, at least there's that.
Yeah, Holly and I have been watching it, and I think we have 3 episodes left.
Yeah, it's 8 episodes.
Yeah, so it's been pretty good. I like it. It's I would actually say I really like it. I think that there's a little bit of hyperbole online about how good it is. Like I'm like, yeah, this is great. It's not the best season. Like I'm trying to think as far as like a lot of people are saying it's the best video game adaptation, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't go that far. It's good, and I think it's in the conversation, right?
Sure,
but I don't. But I feel like it's way too early, and like I don't feel like overwhelmingly. Oh, this is clearly the best ever, you know. But it's really good. I think Colin would love it. I feel like there's a lot of things. I feel like there's a lot of things in the show that Colin would love. Anyway, Fallout for Nintendo Switch, please come out. You know,
all they have is Fallout Shelter, which is awesome, but it's crazy they never did like a 3 Vegas. Combo pack on Switch.
3 in Vegas would work just fine. Even 4 probably. You could fit 4 maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
If they got The Witcher on there, they could make 4 work.
Yes. Actually, yes. Yeah. If you got The Witcher on there, then you can easily make 4 work. But it'd just be a lot of work, and Bethesda doesn't want to do that. So
yeah. It'd be pretty.
Yeah, I was playing Fallout 4 like a couple nights ago, and there's still bugs from like fucking like the first year. Holy shit, dude! I was like, I couldn't believe it. You know, I haven't put any mods in it, like the unofficial Fallout 4 mod. Anyway,
yeah, it's I'm gonna play when that comes out on the PS5 patch comes out. I think I am gonna check it out again. I'm maybe not gonna play the whole game, but I wanna wander the wasteland a bit, play the radio. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The show does make you want to just kind of wander the wasteland and just play the radio and just like collect shit. You know. I'm excited for the Steam Deck Verified because if you play it on Steam Deck, it has a launcher and it's not all that great. So cleaning it up for Steam Deck would be very nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Remember when fucking Bethesda came out with Skyrim on its Switch and it was like a launch? It was like an almost launch game for the Switch.
Yeah, and the guy was playing on the plane.
On the plane,
he was like, Skyrim was on the very first dork, dude.
Yeah, Skyrim was there. Bethesda was there on the very first day we saw the Switch at all. And that was really huge. I feel like that was really convincing. Skyrim to go, that was something else back then, you know.
Yeah, it is funny how now we've kind of the novelty of portability is kind of gone now to some degree. But when Switch came out, I was like, whoa, dude, you can Skyrim to go. That was like unheard of. But now, I mean, with all Steam Deck and all these different devices and Switch, we've kind of I will say, I recently booted up BioShock on my Steam Deck. I'm like, this is so cool. I'm playing BioShock on a handheld, which you can also do on Switch. Just, it's still nice thinking about back in the Game Boy days to where we are now. But last quick article here I wanted to talk about. I want to read part of it just because it's so insane. This is from IGN. The headline, Japanese police arrest 36-year-old man on suspicion of tampering with Pokemon Violet save data. So I'll go ahead and read some of the article here. Police in Japan have arrested a 36-year-old man on suspicion of selling illegally modified Pokemon save data to customers online, a practice which is banned under the country's 2019 Unfair Competition Preservation Act. As reported by the Japanese website NHK News and translated by Automaton, the suspect was apprehended by police on April 9th after a police cyber patrol discovered evidence that the individual had used special tools to illegally modify save data for Pokemon Violet in order to change Pokemon movesets. A 30-year-old man was arrested. Well, is that a typo? An IGN article? Was arrested for selling illegally modified Pokemon save data. The 35-year-old allegedly took custom orders for rare Pokemon and sold the resulting tampered data between December 2022 and March 2023 for up to 13,000 yen or $84 US. A time on a website that served as a marketplace for video game assets and items. He also offered deals in which 6 Pokemon would be created for the equivalent of roughly $30 in yen. And this last bit is very interesting. The 36-year-old had reportedly admitted to committing the crimes at the heart of the ongoing investigation while providing the justification that he did it to earn a living. According to Automaton, the suspect could face up to 5 years imprisonment and or a fine of up to 5 million yen or $32,600 US. So that was a lot of reading, but I had to get to the end there that this man, he's doing some save data editing and he is selling it. To be fair, that's kind of a step above, but 5 years in prison. Japan goes hard on crime. Mike, what do you think about this? This little, is this white collar crime here of Pokemon? I don't know about white collar crime. Some in between. This is blue collar. It's just a man trying to make a living editing your Pikachu. And but no, he could be going to jail. What do you think?
I mean, I think jail time is a little extreme. Certainly, if you violated some terms of service, if you violated a very specific law that they have, then sure, a fine feels appropriate because these amounts don't feel that crazy either. It's like charging like $84 a pop for some of this stuff. It's not so crazy. I mean, I guess we don't know how much money he'd made in total, if that was in the article, but it feels pretty crazy to face 5 years in prison for that. It just reminds me of a friend's dad who was like tampering, in World of Warcraft, helping people get a bunch of gold and stuff on their accounts. And when he was discovered, his account was banned, which was upsetting because it was a very old World of Warcraft account. But then he just like shrugged and started a new one and he didn't do it again. So it's like, I don't know, man, jail time feels pretty extreme for what's the equivalent of I got you a Pokemon in a game. Like it's where are the victims here?
Yeah. The only thing I could think about is that if it is a threat to the integrity of the online, but then I remembered we're talking about Pokemon Violet. So I don't know what the online, if there even is an online competitive. I'm assuming there is. It's fucking Pokemon, that there's some kind of competitive scene for it. So that could be an issue. But Gene, I'm curious what you think about this. I mean, Japan, 5 years. It's known that Japan is very tough on crime, and you could argue that there's many benefits to that. You can see that when you walk around Tokyo or other Japanese cities, that people are very orderly and very clean, and for the most part feels very safe. But then you have instances of like this where someone could go to 5 years in jail for editing some Pokemon. So what do you think here?
Asia will fuck you up if you step out of line.
Is South Korea like that too?
South Korea is a little bit like that. It is very, at the very least, I know that it is very, very litigious against drug dealing. There was that actor who killed himself recently because, well, I mean, he was being accused of cheating on his wife with a hostess girl, which is also like frowned upon societally, even though fucking everyone does it, but there have been like Korean like celebrities who would kill themselves because they got caught with weed, and but because getting caught with weed will just fuck up your life forever, then you might as well just get out now, So yeah, there's a reason why Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney exists and is about defending the rights of criminals, because it's a little lopsided over there in Japan, definitely, where if you get accused of a crime, you're pretty much gonna get locked away. And I'm also reminded of the story that just happened 4 days ago, where in Vietnam, have you guys heard this story? A real estate tycoon was sentenced to death because of financial fraud where she stole 3% of Vietnam's gross domestic product.
Oh my God!
Wow,
which is $27 billion.
Oh my God.
Yeah, through a luxury scheme, a luxury apartment scheme that where she was like basically just sitting on a bunch of land and just like stealing money for like luxury apartments, hotels, and offices or whatever. So they're gonna kill her. They're like, for that you're fucking dead. You know.
Dang.
That's crazy because you never hear that in the U.S. Someone that high up, they're not gonna get killed. They're not gonna kill them.
Right.
You know? You might get Epstein. You know, Epstein had a way out. You know. But.
Sure. Yeah. But yeah, it's just it's pretty crazy, the cultural difference here. But so yeah, be careful. You're probably you won't go to jail in the US for this. You know, there's probably some kid. Do you guys remember there was a hack device called the Brain Boy for Game Boy that was specifically for editing Pokemon saves?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why we had one. I should have made a little business out of that. It's like, hey, you know, lunch money, ice cream money, and I will totally edit all your Pokemon data and then give you your game back. I feel like that would be a great little business for as a kid. I never thought of that, but
see, now you're setting up your kid with a business. Yeah. All right. Now you're cooking up ideas. All right. You're going to further the next generation. This is how you do it.
I feel like the story also showcases how dumb the whole Power Roll panic was about, because they're like, oh my God, Nintendo's going to do something. If Nintendo wanted to do something, they would do it and they would fucking kill the Power Roll people. But they haven't, because they know they can't, because there's nothing there, you know? Mm-hmm. But if they know that they got something, they will fucking kill you for it, you know?
Right. Well, yeah, and the guy that did the mod that had that he put the Pokemon assets in the game. They went after him within like 24 hours.
You know, So Power Roll is operating just fine out in public. You know, they're just hanging their Power Roll out in public, and Nintendo doesn't care because they're like, that doesn't look like our dick, so that's fine. You know.
Yeah.
That looks nothing like our dick. It's similar in shape, sure, but you know.
All right, so watch out, everyone out there, for your blue collar, your white collar Pokemon crime. Be careful when you're in Japan. Moving on to our quickies here.
Imagine if Dustin had his Brain Boy in Japan, and we have to like extradite him out of Japan.
We have to get Joe Biden to like plead for me.
You have to have fucking like free Dustin merch at the store. Like Michael will have free Dustin posters and shirts and stickers at the fucking house.
Yeah.
We have shirts that say "Brain Boy is not a crime."
Brain Boy is not a crime.
Save our little Brain Boy, Dustin.
little Brain Boy.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say it because I don't want us to get like demonetized for saying the N word. But like, yeah, free my N word Brain Boy. That could be a shirt.
Wow, that might sell. We can look into that.
Dustin, you know what to do.
Do we put the N word on the shirt or do we bleep it out?
I think we gotta have an N in the stars.
Yeah.
N in stars. Yeah. Because
N in stars. Yeah. I think that if we put the actual N word, or even that, that might be pushing it too. I think that might get us on Reset Era again.
It might be the end of the company, but yeah.
Might be the end of the company.
Yeah.
I think it's a wish worth taking, honestly.
It was my idea, so
well,
I think how mad could people be? I'm the one who came up with it.
That's right. That's true. And you're the one that's like shipping out the merch. This is
That's true.
Your whole deal. So
I'm putting my seal of approval on every order. Like, don't worry, guys. I endorse this. Okay, I'm the one who packaged it.
Imagine the next live show, our audience of like mostly 30-year-old white guys. I don't mean that negative. I'm just saying in general, and they all have this shirt that says.
Micah we're just selling N-word passes from Micah, basically.
Yeah.
Now you're not allowed to read your shirt out loud, though. Read
it Don't
read it in your head.
Don't say it out loud.
Okay, let's talk about some quickies. One Piece Odyssey is finally coming to the Switch in the form of its deluxe edition. It's going to be on July 26th. It's going to include the expansion DLC and some extra costumes, including the Soga King mask, which I'm very excited about. Micah, now's the time. Back into One Piece. This could be the game. Though you couldn't really play this game for probably a year. You probably shouldn't play the game for about a year, but at some point, I know when I started watching One Piece, you were like, "Ooh, is it time for me to get back into One Piece?" And I've kind of held on to that since that at some point that you would try again. But I feel like the silence is deafening right now.
It's one of those things of I genuinely just don't watch that much TV these days.
Mm-hmm.
And if I were to watch One Piece, first and foremost, I would definitely return to my watch guide that cuts out all the filler. And that's not a knock. The One Piece is a high quality show. There's just so much of it. And I know I can't commit to watching all those episodes. I would definitely do it the way I did before, where I had the watch guide and I'm only watching like the essential canon episodes, basically. And the watch guides are funny, man, because sometimes it'll be things like you have to watch the last 3 minutes of episode 25 and then watch the first 5 minutes of episode 26. Like sometimes they are like that granular of like you need these 6 minutes of content, but that's the thing. I think the One Piece games actually do look pretty cool, but of course, yeah, it'd be spoiling some of the show for me that I haven't seen. Am I ever going to watch it though? Should I just play the games and enjoy them versus committing to watching the show? Because part of it's because Colin's never going to watch it. And you and Holly get to watch the show together. But watching an entire series like that with no one to discuss it with, it's like, what the hell am I doing? Just imagine consuming all that content and you can't even like talk about it. It's just like, I don't know, man. That's like the worst part of it is I don't think Colin would even look at me the same way, much less have any interest in like if I told him, hey, there's this really cool episode of One Piece I watched today. Like that's just a complete non-starter.
I feel bad for Holly because she only has me to talk about One Piece with, and I have Brad and I have our one good Jimmy and I's friend George. I text him too, and they're like my One Piece boys. But surprisingly, One Piece filler, 9%. 9% filler, which is considered very low for a shonen anime, as opposed to like Naruto, 41% filler.
Naruto, you gotta skip. I am a big Naruto fan, but you gotta use a watch guide for that. I skipped a lot of episodes. There's just a bunch of junk episodes in there. Some of them are fun, okay, but a lot of them just aren't very good. And I wholeheartedly recommend using a watch guide for Naruto. If you're a busy adult, if you just actually if you have the time and the inclination to watch the whole thing, go ahead and do it. It's not terrible. But there's enough episodes that I got to that I'm like, this one's not very good. This one's not very good. I'm going to start using a guide because I got to skip over these ones that just don't matter at all. Or like they'll have a big storyline and then they'll just go fuck off for 6 episodes doing something unrelated. Yeah. And then you go back to the big storyline. I'm like, I didn't need that part. I'm an adult. I have things to do. So I wholeheartedly suggest using watch guides for some of these shows that have a lot of episodes.
I'm looking at this Naruto filler guide, and the two things I'm noticing, first of all, is that episodes 143 through 219 are all filler. There's the last third of the show is a filler non-manga canon. The second thing is that I had no idea that Naruto is 220 episodes. That's about the length of the current One Piece arc that I'm on. God. For Wano. Wano Kuni is like 200 episodes for one arc. So anyway, this is supposed to be Quickies, but I turned it into talking about One Piece. So my bad. Next Quickie, Balatro, which is a game that I'm very excited about. The first update is coming. It's currently only available in the testing beta branch on the PC version on Steam, but it will be coming to Switch once they've kind of worked out any balancing stuff. But it's a pretty exciting patch in that it has a lot of balancing stuff in terms of jokers and different difficulty settings, and even certain cards being completely redesigned. So look forward to that if you're playing Balatro on Switch. That's where Holly's playing it. That should be, I would imagine, not too far off. Next, we have new Nintendo Switch Online games. 3 for the Super Nintendo: Wrecking Crew 98, Amazing Habreke, and Super R-Type. I honestly don't know anything about these 3 games. I don't know, Gene, if any of these ring a bell for you. Like Super R-Type sounds super familiar, but these weren't necessarily games that I was very familiar with.
R-Type is awesome, but yeah, there's not a lot there. R-Type is obviously a classic, but it's also like one of the hardest games ever.
Oh,
R-Type button for the Switch. There's a new R-Type.
oh, cool. I had no idea.
R-Type Level 2. There you go. I have it on physical. But awesome game.
Nice.
Really good. Really good.
Okay, next quickie here. Nintendo is once again collaborating with the clothing brand Uniqlo. This time it's for a line of Tears of the Kingdom graphic tees, and they will be available in-store and online on April 25th. I own quite a few of these Uniqlo brand crossover stuff they do. The blue Metal Gear Solid 2 shirt that I have is Uniqlo. I have some Nintendo Uniqlo stuff that's really good. So high quality. I have some of their other random clothes too. Like they make really nice underwear, really nice boxer briefs that I highly recommend. So while you're picking up your Tears of the Kingdom merch, get some underwear while you're at it. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
And then, this last one we talked about, Nintendo Indie World, is happening today. We will talk about that on the next episode. Okay, guys, let's get into what we've been playing. And who should we start with here? Micah, let's start with you because you are coming towards the end of a journey.
Yes. Yeah. Boring update. I'm sorry. I'm still playing Unicorn Overlord. I'm a bit of a slow gamer lately, but I have unlocked the final region of the game. And like now I'm feeling extra motivated. Like I'm going to get this completed. We're going on a little road trip this upcoming weekend to a wedding. So perfect timing to get some extra, gaming in because I'm not actually the person driving. We got a 6-hour ride ahead of us. So primo gaming time. I'm still having a good time with the game. It's starting to get a little repetitive at this point. It's more so though because for a lot of Unicorn Overlord, the story is there, but it doesn't really get in your way, which I enjoy. But you do, in my opinion, at a certain point, start to lose a little bit of the motivation because the story is so in the background at times. I enjoy that the game is primarily focused on the combat and on, getting each stage completed, but a little more story would have helped, or a little more variety even. Like in the early stages of the game, they'll frequently have you do things like, okay, if you want more dialogue, you got to get this person across the battlefield to have a conversation with a special character, right? And, you want to try and make that happen. Those happen, less and less frequently. And eventually, like, I haven't actually had one of those missions in a very long time. It's things like that in the beginning added a lot of variety to the stages, and then they seem to just disappear. And they haven't really had, like in this, the last 2 sections I've been working through, there haven't been many special stages. There haven't been many stages like that have like weather effects, for example. Some of them do, like you'll have snow or like sand effects that affect your visibility during the stage, but those are very infrequent. And it's something I think they could have utilized a bit more to keep the game more interesting. I'm also noticing what seems to just be a strange idea that as you progress through the game and you unlock different towns, each town has an armorer and like an item shop. And for some reason in the towns, like as you progress through the story, the items, they only offer the high-end items. Like they only offer the large healing pack versus the small or medium healing pack. But the problem is that they're so expensive. Again, I don't have the money for it. But if you go back to an earlier town, they're still sold out. Like you can't just rebuy the items again from a town in an earlier stage, basically, to get like more affordable healing items. So that's becoming a bit of an issue in terms of money and me having to kind of spend extra time grinding, not for levels, but just for coins. And it's just a bit of a weird choice, in my opinion, that they basically were like, okay, well, your characters have more health, so you want the bigger health pack. And it's like, yeah, but it's $12,000. I don't have this kind of money. So there's a couple odd things about it that, as I get towards the end game, are a little disappointing. I'm still really enjoying it, still highly recommend it. And I swear to God that the next time you see me, I will not still be playing this game. I'm finally going to beat it. It's just been a long road. It's one of those games that it's really fun, but it is a strategy game. So it's not as easy to play like if you're tired or something, for example. Right. You're just going to end up losing and wishing like, why did I play this right now? But I am still having a good time with it, especially now that the end is in sight. I'm really feeling like, okay, now I get to start planning the next game I'm going to play, and that excitement in that as well is motivating me to get through this one.
It's tough when you're enjoying a game, but you've been playing it for a while. This just happened to me with Rebirth, where you start to have eyes for other games, and you're like, ooh, you're the meme of like looking, the guy that's like with the girl and he's like looking at another girl. It's like, ooh, maybe there's an exciting dopamine hit, the idea of starting a new game, and you're like, no, I can't. I refuse. You can't start a new game.
Exactly.
So,
because when this game came out, I wasn't sure I was going to play it right away, but then I played the demo and was like, okay, I'm hooked on this. I have to play it, because I was originally going to start Xenoblade Chronicles 2 because I wanted to get back to that series. So I put that on the back burner to get to this one while it was new. But I think that is going to be my next game on the list.
I'm so excited for you.
But that's the thing. I keep thinking about it. I'm like, I want to go play that, but I got to finish this one first. I will get there. I should be just right towards the end based on my level and where I am on the map, basically. So I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it that this is the end.
You're really feeling it, like Xenoblade Chronicles. For part 2, there is like 1 or 2 parts that are super frustrating. Just look that shit up. Like that, I did. I was like, I could not have figured that out. What the fuck,
No, I have no shame for things like that, especially
you're married to Colin.
games.
Colin is a guy who just looks at a guide and just like plays the game. So
yeah, I won't do that. But like, for example, sometimes it's good to play games so late because in Unicorn Overlord, sometimes you have choices of, okay, do you want to bring this guy to your party or do you want to take him out type deal, right? And sometimes I was curious, like, oh, is this even a good character to get? There is so little information about the game. It's just so new. There's so many characters to unlock. Yeah. You'll find like articles just saying this character can be added to your party, but not whether or not they're actually a good character to have.
All these fucking AI articles can't even answer the question, right?
That too. So it's one of those things that I like playing the game while it's nice and fresh, but the lack of even just being able to ask the community, like, hey, is this a good character to add to the party? Because Star Ocean, the Second Story R, when I played that, tons of info on that game and which characters are the best to add to your party because it was an old game being remade. And so, yeah, getting into Xenoblade Chronicles 2, there will be so much information available to me online that it's far less intimidating to get into an older game like that. You lose the excitement of playing it while everyone's playing it, but then you have all these resources that you can look to.
Yeah. It's that's the case I'm having right now. Good segue, because I'm playing Chrono Trigger, Gene. I'm doing this well, I was gonna say I'm doing it for you, but I'm not. I'm kind of doing it for you. I'm doing it for Akira Toriyama.
You're doing it for you too. Yeah. This is important text for JRPGs,
Yeah. So I am about 3.5 hours in so far with Chrono Trigger. I am playing on Steam Deck, which is the PC version, which had a lot of issues when it launched, but is much better now. Awesome. And I am having a good time with it. I'm not having like, wow, this is amazing, 10 out of 10. I talked about it quite a bit on Summon Sign that just came out this week. And Brad was kind of indicating, he's like, my favorite parts of the game are you have to get deeper, which I'm not bored at all. That's one of the main things is I was like, man, the pacing of this game, you're kind of going here. Yeah. I haven't felt like I've been at the same place too long, which I think is one of the number one issues with older JRPGs. There's new characters coming in and out. I'm very excited about this Frogman that I met briefly. Yeah. You meet him briefly at the beginning, and he's part of your party, and then he goes away for a bit. So I'm like, man, where's Frog at? He's my boy. I want to know more about this man.
Okay, you already got attached to Frogman. Okay, so the game's cooking for you then. It's working, and everything you're saying is correct.
Yeah,
you are picking up on exactly all the things that make this game great. So
I like too that there's a Frogman, and his canon name is Frog.
Yeah,
and there's a robot, and his canon name is Robo. It's just like very like to the point. And dude, I like the robot guy too a lot. There's the special move that the girl with the flamethrower like powers up his arm and
Luca,
he can punch.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. This was a game that created like tech attacks, like dual attacks. So when you see Gambit charge up Wolverine's claws in X-Men 97, it's like, no, that's just from Chrono Trigger too, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I really like the time travel stuff. I like specifically that you're time traveling in the same place. So you kind of are able to see like, wow, how has this land changed? It has a very Back to the Future style of time travel where like if things happen, this is very early in the game, but like something changed. And so this character, her ancestor wasn't going to be saved anymore. And so she just disappears. And you're like, oh shit, we got to go write things in order for this person to actually exist because her great grandma or whatever is not going to be around for this to happen. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, it just is, it has all the good trappings of JRPG, like good music, good characters, cozy, and the pacing, like I said, has been awesome so far. I did get lost and I looked it up online. It was basically, there's a part where you are at the end of time and you have all the different places you can go to. And I went to 6,000 BC or whatever. And that was not the next place to go. But I thought, oh, there's a new portal here. That's where I should go. And I looked it up online and it was one of the top like old game FAQs forum posts. That's like, yes, many people get lost here. This is the correct order of events. I'm like, okay.
We all went there. Yeah, we all went to 6,000 BC or 80 trying to figure out what's going on in the cyberpunk future, because that's exciting. But then he's like, no, you're not supposed to be here yet. So
right. So yeah, I'm having a good time. It's nice because I was looking and it's not like terribly long. I'm probably about, 20%, about 3 hours in, depending on how much I'm going to do. So I'm looking forward to playing more and reporting back.
It's easier too. It was one of the easier JRPGs. It was one of the first JRPGs that was like, oh, this is like a lot easier than normal. And I think that's why a lot of people really loved it, because it was accessible. There's no random battles. All the fights are just right there on the screen. That was like huge for us.
Yeah. It's always cool to go back to these and clearly see how like, oh yeah, this is what began this. This is how this influenced these other games that I liked in the that came out later.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Chrono Trigger's influence is all over that shit.
Which this got me thinking, Gene, about a Final Fantasy VII remake style Chrono Trigger game. I'm like, dude, you could totally do this. You could have very similar combat.
It's fucking exactly same combat, and the synergy attacks are basically the tech attacks. It's the same thing, It's the same thing.
It would be so cool. I imagine. I know this isn't a Square game, but like graphically, something like Ni no Kuni or Ni no Kuni 2, or you can imagine some of the Dragon Ball games, of course, since those are Akira Toriyama as well. Like it would just be so easy to remake this game and do it well. But yeah, I think Square's probably saving that for when they need it. They'll do it someday, but just not now. And the other thing is I'm playing Balatro still on Steam Deck. I have talked about this across 3 different shows now, so I don't want to kill our audience that listens to all of our different things, but roguelike card game, it is one of my absolute favorite games of the year. I cannot recommend it enough. The Switch version, as I mentioned, Holly is playing. She is also addicted to this game, and it's been fun seeing people. I have gotten more messages about this game in particular of listeners that are like, I picked this game up because I heard you talk about it, and now my life is over because I cannot do anything but play this game. So if you're curious about more in-depth thoughts, I talk about it on Sacred and on Summon Sign this week. So I'll spare people here, but Balatro, good shit. Can't recommend it enough.
I would play Balatro on the phone.
It's coming.
Yeah.
They already said they're working on an iPhone version.
That's why I stopped playing on PC, because I was like, I can feel the hooks getting into me. I'm gonna stop right now because I feel like this would be a good one on the phone. And if I lose it all, then that's fine, because Balatro feels like a good game for the moment. Like oh, this feels good in the moment. This doesn't need to last. This is not a Dragon Quest game, where I'm investing my time and love into it. Balatro.
Yeah.
It's card. It helps you feel good about cheating in cards.
Yeah. There is a feature too, where let's say you unlock everything on one platform and then you go to another. There's like an auto unlock all cards button in the settings, so it's easy to switch over. I'm definitely getting on iPhone when it comes out too, so I could play it phone and on my iPad and stuff, and I'll become an iPad kid and just sit around and drink juice and shit my pants playing Balatro. I think that sounds great.
I mean, I was very surprised. I knew you were really into the game. I was surprised Holly was so into it, because she was telling me that she accidentally stayed up too late one night playing it, and then like one of her early lessons canceled the next day. And she was like, oh, thank goodness, because I wasn't ready for this. I was like, wow, it's that addicting, huh? Because as I know the types of games Holly likes, and it's like, okay, if you like this, then I think I'll give it a try too at some point.
Yeah, Holly... I've mentioned this on previous shows, maybe not on Punching Up. Holly is a pretty hardcore gamer. Like, totally, she beat Breath of the Wild before me. She beats Pikmin. She beat all the not all the Pikmin's games yet, but 3 and 4. Not that those are insanely hardcore. She is better at Civilization than anyone that I've in my friend group. Like, she is top tier Civ player. So yeah, she's pretty hardcore, and she's also very good at Balatro. I keep telling her, I'm like, the only reason I'm ahead of you in challenges is because I started before you, but you will be better than me at this game. I know it's going to happen. So I'm just waiting to get outpaced by her, but that's how it goes. Gene, I was surprised to see you have on here Dragon's Dogma, not 2 though. You're going back to Dark Arisen.
Yeah, I feel a little insane, but as I'm playing Dragon's Dogma 2, the entire time I'm like, this game is cool. I don't know if I like it better than 1. Let me go back and play 1 first, because I've been such a huge Dragon's Dogma. I've been hyping up Dragon's Dogma, right? Like I even got ratio. I didn't get ratio, but like people yelled at me because I said I like the combat better than Elden Ring, right? Which is still true. But then I'm like, have I just been always wanting to just play Dragon's Dogma 1 this whole time? And then so I tried playing Dragon's Dogma 1, and then I ended up beating it, which is a 100-hour RPG, and I ended up rolling credits on it, and now I'm on my 3rd New Game Plus for Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. This is a fresh save on the Nintendo Switch version, which is a good version. It runs at 30 frames per second and it's just basically on par graphically with the PS4 version, which is basically the PS5 version, except that the draw distance isn't as good. So there's like less grass like swaying in the wind. And having played Dragon's Dogma 2, grass swinging in the wind is a huge part of like the visual identity of it. But otherwise, I think I like the combat better in part 1. It's snappier. It feels like a fighting game, whereas Dragon's Dogma 2 feels like Grand Theft Auto. It's very like the animations are very, very bouncy. They're very, very detailed, and they look gorgeous. And the control and the characters control really, really well. But it's just that much snappier in Dragon's Dogma 1. It feels more like a fighting game in part 1, and that's what I miss. Also, you just have more moves. You just have more special moves. In Dragon's Dogma 2, you can only assign 4 moves, right, to your character, right, Dustin?
Yeah, because it's the 4 face buttons, right?
Yep. And in Dragon's Dogma 1, you get 6. You get 6 special moves. The 1 for each shoulder button, the LB and RB, and you get the top 3 buttons. So the magicians, they just get a whole bunch more magic, like 2 more magic spells, which is a huge deal. So I just think that part 1 is just a lot more fun, and I just stopped kind of playing part 2 for now. Will I go back part 2? Obviously, yes, but I feel like I'm kind of waiting for it to kind of have more content. Again, Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen is basically a 1.5 version of Dragon's Dogma. I think Dragon's Dogma 2 is better than base Dragon's Dogma 1, but that was genuinely like not a great game. It was probably like a good solid 6 out of 10 game. And then Dark Arisen turned this game into like a 7 or 8 out of 10. And Dragon's Dogma 2 is kind of the same thing. They kind of didn't fix a lot of the problems of part 1, which is why, like, when you say that you weren't really vibing with Dragon's Dogma 2, I'm like, I don't really blame you, man. I think I'm kind of like at your level. I get it. Even when I first started playing part 2, I was like, wow, they really just made the sequel to Dragon's Dogma. This is really the same thing. It's really, really janky and really, really weird. And pawns are just saying the same things over and over and over again at the same 10 times. I'm just like, I could just be playing part 1 because I like part 1 better. And so I do. I think part 1 was better. So that's where I'm at with Dragon's Dogma.
Nice, dude. Yeah, I can't. It's a really weird spot that I'm in with 2 because I play it and I have parts where I'm having a lot of fun and other parts where I'm either frustrated or confused or something like that. And I'm like, is it me? Is it the game? Is it both?
It's both. I think for sure. I think it's definitely both for sure. God, yeah. It's kind of like what I was saying earlier with Xenoblade Chronicles. Like, just look things up, and then like it'll be a little easier. Just find a really good weapon and just go grab that and just play the rest of the game the way you want to. Also, definitely switch classes if you're just if you're getting kind of bored. Switch to a different class. That always spices things up big time. So
yeah,
I unlocked the Mystic Spearhand class that definitely made playing part 2 a lot more fun for me. I found a Sphinx in part 2, which was really, really. Have you found her yet?
No, I haven't. No, I'm nowhere near that far.
Yeah. No, you don't even have to be that far. You can find her, but she's really, really like out of the way.
Interesting.
And so yeah, I decided to just go really, really out of the way, and there she was, tucked away in like a corner on the face of a mountain. I was just like, holy shit, you're just right there. And I answered her riddles, and some of them were really, really interesting and really hard. The riddles is probably definitely the most interesting part of the game, because riddles force you to think about the game's mechanics, and it asks you to do what it wants, but in a different. It's a riddle, right? So it's like it's trying to trick you into thinking you got to do it one way, and really there's a whole different other way that you got to do it. Really, really fun.
Nice, cool. Well, yeah, that's out there, and it is the Switch version. So
I'm also playing another game that I can't talk about. I will be able to talk about it later today, but I can't talk about it now.
I didn't realize the embargo is that early.
Yeah, embargo's coming up soon. But I am playing a game that's similar on the iPhone. Speaking of mobile phones, Nikke, Goddess of Victory.
Oh yeah, I tweeted at you about that. I installed it, and then I haven't. This is what I do with phone games. I'm like, oh, that looks cool. So I see something, I install it, and I never think about it again. But
that's me with like Honkai Star Rail, because I was like, oh, Honkai Star Rail must be amazing. Let me install it. I just never touch it. But Nikke, come on. So people who don't know, Nikke Goddess of Victory. Have you heard of this game, Micah?
No, I haven't.
Have you seen me post about it?
I don't think so.
Yeah, Gene, I'll find your tweet while you talk about it so I can send it to Micah.
Yeah. Show it to Micah. So Nikke Goddess of Victory is basically a game it's an iPhone game, but you can also play it on your PC. It's a pop-up shooter, like a light gun shooter. So it's a lot similar to Time Crisis, where the character is behind the cover and then the enemies are shooting at you. And then in between the shots, you basically pop up and you shoot back at them, right? Very much like an arcade shooter. The difference is that all the characters are very, very nubile women with juicy, plump asses.
I did see a tweet about this. Now that I see this, yes, I remember seeing this. I remember being like, oh, and then I remember seeing a picture of like a dog from like one of the dog accounts.
Yeah. Well, the girl with the dog, it looks like a 12-year-old girl. So I had to switch her fucking out like right away, because I'm just not gonna. No, thank you. There are other girls in this game, so I will do that. But yeah, every time you fire the gun, their butts will jiggle.
That's culture.
That is culture.
That's pure culture right there, as far as I'm concerned.
And the amazing thing about this is that there is a mode where it will autoplay for you, so you don't even have to be holding your phone. Your hands could be doing other things.
Hands free, huh?
Hands free, yeah, hands free. So this the Shift Up is a fucking company that knows what they're doing. And also, there was an ad in China that was completely banned for Nikke Goddess Victory, and if you haven't seen it, I will describe it. You can go look it up on YouTube, but I will describe it. It is a guy who is there's a birthday party and everyone's having fun and socializing outside the house, and he's inside the house and he's bored, and so he boots up Nikkei and he starts basically just going like gooning in the living room. And then the girls pop up out of the phone, and then they just start wiggling their butts in front of him, and he just starts like basically mimicking jerking off.
Oh,
and
well, all right.
Well, the shift up had to apologize, not for being sexist or misogynistic. They apologized for depicting gamers as losers who only just jerk off over the phone.
With a bunch of people outside. Like it's not even the content that's troubling. It's like all your friends are outside.
Yeah, you have company over.
Sounds about right.
Like, I get jerking off is like really, really addictive, but like if you have company over, man, come on. Like, at least
you gotta do that before they get there. All right, the party starts at 12. All right, you handle that by 11:30 at the latest.
Right. Yeah. This
it's
is
like
the gamer mindset.
House, and it's like Dustin be like, okay, Gene, just play this video game. I just gotta handle something real quick.
During the barbecue,
the barbecue.
It's July 4th.
It's Veterans Day,
Hey, you gotta celebrate your freedom somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
Sign of respect.
That's Nikkei Goddess of Victory. I haven't played them much. Apparently the story is really, really good. I haven't been paying attention to the story at all. So I can't pay attention to the story. I'm sorry, I can't fucking take this shit seriously,
No.
I tried watching a YouTube video and but they keep showing the girls in the video, so I had to listen to it as an audio podcast so I can take it seriously.
The audio drama of this game is the only way Gene can take in the story, because the visuals
are too much. Yeah, way too distracting.
I have some write-ins of stuff that the audience is playing I wanted to read to you guys. Let's start out with Steven Campos, and he has a question too. He says, "Hello, punchers. Recently, I 100%ed Mario vs. Donkey Kong on the Switch, and man, that is a 10 out of 10 puzzle game that I highly recommend, and you can 100% it in less than 15 hours. Yes, it's a very short game, and after playing it, I feel ashamed of myself that I wasn't a fan of the series from the beginning, because now I want to play all the games, play all the entries in the Mario vs. Donkey Kong series, which got me thinking, is there any Nintendo series that make you go, man, I wish I was a fan of that series from the beginning, and supported it whenever a new title was released? Is it Pikmin, Nintendogs, very loud motorcycle passing my house? I don't know if you guys heard that. Is it Pikmin, Nintendogs, F-Zero, Paper Mario, WarioWare, Luigi's Mansion, Chibi Robo? Mine's Pikmin, because I didn't get into Pikmin until Pikmin 4, and I'm like, man, these games are sweet. And I don't know if I want to go back now. Holly she was playing Pikmin 1 on the way to New York, and I know, Micah, you went back. But so that's my answer. Is that
Pikmin 4 is outselling Final Fantasy VII Rebirth?
Oh yeah, I'm sure like Luigi's Mansion's gonna sell totally more than
I wouldn't be surprised if Peach Showtime is outselling Rebirth at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
No one is buying Rebirth. What the fuck? It's a really good game, guys. You should buy
it.
Rebirth. It's a really, really good game. Anyways,
Micah, is your answer also Pikmin, or do you have something else?
No, Pikmin is the first one that came to mind for me, because I played the demo for 4. I was so into it that I immediately ordered Pikmin 3 for Switch, because I was like, there's no way I'm waiting until this game comes out. And Pikmin 3 was fantastic. I actually like it better than Pikmin 4. So Dustin, if you're interested in going back for one of them, Pikmin 3 would be my pick of the litter so far. I own 1 and 2 on cartridge. I waited till those came out, but I haven't played those yet. I'm definitely going to get to them soon. But yeah, Pikmin 4 I enjoyed a lot, but it's the end stage of the game, which I won't spoil anything. But basically, at the end of the game, it's just a very different environment than what you played the entire time. They add in some odd mechanics, honestly, that are distracting from what you're trying to do, and I just don't like it as much. I remember just feeling like this is just annoying at this point, essentially, there's somebody who keeps trying to like steal away some of your Pikmin, and it's frequent. It's like every few in-game minutes, somebody runs up to you and they'll swipe 10 of your Pikmin. You got to go chase them down. And like, it's just annoying when you're trying to just complete the area like you had been the whole time. It's not like just dealing with the little bug enemies and stuff that you encounter throughout the game. It's like, no, this guy's like harassing you and it's frequent. And it's just annoying. But I am kicking myself for not finishing that game yet because I do just want to have it completed so I can go play 1 and 2. But 3 is definitely my favorite so far of the 2 that I've played. I definitely recommend that one, Dustin, if you're feeling it, because it's a much more consistent experience, in my opinion. Like from start to finish, the difficulty ramps up towards the end, but it's not a complete like departure from what you were doing earlier, like kind of like what happens in Pikmin 4. It also doesn't have the like very, very young gamer friendly tutorial style that Pikmin 4 had, where it kind of like holds you hostage for those first 2 hours until you can really start playing. Pikmin 3 lets you get started much quicker, and I appreciated that. It's part of what makes me want to go back to play 1 and 2 because I anticipate that those will also be a little more, ready to go versus having like a super heavy tutorial.
Yeah. I have 3 on Switch that Holly, I guess it's Holly's copy, our copy. So I have it available. So I might have to do that at some point. But Gene, anything come to mind to you of like a series, Nintendo series that you wish you had gotten into earlier?
Pikmin's a good one, but it would be Fire Emblem for me. It does suck. I'm usually on the ground floor for so many different IP. Like, I played the first Hitman, and I played the first Chrono Trigger, and I played the first Final Fantasy, and I played the first Dragon Quest. I did not play the first Fire Emblem, even though Fire Emblem is definitely one of the original tactic strategy games, and it's still going strong, and it's stronger than ever, and people love it. But completely missed me, and it's too bad. And I try to get into Three Houses, and it's like, I don't know. I feel like it's too late for me. I still want to get into it, but I do feel like Fire Emblem is a kind of like a knowledge gap for me, and yeah, I wish I got into it. It seemed like a fun community, and seems like really fun stories. So maybe someday I will, but right now I'm just not into it. But Pikmin, I also want to. I didn't get to finish Pikmin 4, so I would like to finish it, and then I can play the whole series again too, because I have all that too.
Yeah, Pikmin rules. So definitely a good choice. This next one is from Kazdan Risk, who says, "Hey, Brickfisters, just wanted to write in and sing some praises for Princess Peach Showtime. I got it for my daughter for her fourth birthday this month, and she's been loving it. Peach is her favorite ever since the Mario movie, and she especially loved how much of a hero Nintendo made her in that film. To see her play as Ice Skating Peach, Sword Fighting Peach, Ninja Peach, etc. is a blast. Super charming and creative, and I hope Nintendo continues with the Showtime 2 one day, but probably not. Maybe. I don't know. Take care." Wanted to bring that up. Shout out, since that's really all Nintendo has we have going on right now in the world of Nintendo. So good to see the listeners engaged, and that your daughter on her 4th birthday, happy birthday, that she enjoyed it. Last one, and this one comes with a question, and then we'll get into some more generalized question. From Hayden Glass, says, I think it's supposed to say hi, Brickfisters, but it says, how, Brickfisters? How? Good. After years of procrastination, I finally hunkered down and beat Persona 4 Golden. It is the first Persona game I have beaten, and it was phenomenal. I'm now 20 hours into Persona 3 Reload, and I am loving it. My question, will Persona 6 launch on the Switch 2? The Switch didn't get a single Persona game until 2022, and Reload isn't even out yet. Would love to hear your thoughts on this. So yeah, Switch 2, Persona, I'm going to say yes, because they have taken Persona as a multi-platform game. I think the reason that Reload isn't out yet on Switch is because they may be waiting for more powerful hardware to make the porting a little easier, since that is the first true, we'll say, PS4 generation native, because Persona 5 before that was on PS3. So, and they're also working on DLC, so that might take precedent first. But Persona 6 on Switch, Micah, is that where you would be playing it when it comes out?
Yeah, so long as it is reviewed well on Switch, because performance does matter for an experience like that. Like I really enjoyed Persona 3 Portable on Switch, but it is the basically toned down version of it. It's much more visual novel style. It's a little bit more of like a point and click adventure in some aspects of how you're navigating the world. So they made that work really well on Switch. Reload intimidates me a bit of like, yeah, that seems like it'd be kind of hairy to try and bring over to Switch, just given some of the performance issues we've seen in other high-end games. So I would love to see that on Switch too. And so long as the console is sufficient, it'd be awesome to see Persona 6 on there. I'm dying for more Persona games. Reminds me that I did buy Persona 5 Tactica, it was called.
Oh, right, yeah.
When that was on sale from Best Buy, they had it like half off. So I did buy that. I haven't played it yet. But anything Persona 5, just give me that. So I'm on board.
Give me that.
If they
Give me that.
Give me that.
so long as it reviews well, I would definitely play it over on Switch. I would wait though to see like, is the performance actually on par? Okay, so long as it's good enough, I'll be there.
Nice. Yeah. And Gene, you still got that Persona 5 playthrough.
I still have to finish Persona 5.
Yeah.
And Kingdom Hearts.
And Kingdom Hearts, man.
Yeah,
Gotta stop messing around with this Korean jerk-off game on your phone. Get back to the real game that's going to make you feel something, Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, the Korean game will make you feel something short-term, but if you want something a long-term in your heart, it'll fill that hole very well. Sora and his Keyblade.
The gummy ship is eternal.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Gummy thick. Right?
He's still thinking about that mobile game.
How can you not? I mean, I haven't played it yet. Maybe I shouldn't.
It's actually fun, but yeah, after a while, just like I don't know.
All right, let's get into some final questions for the show. This first one, his Patreon name is Jonathan Rushmore, but then he signs a different name. So we'll go with the signed name. It says Heya Fiestas. At the time you're writing this, it's my 28th birthday. Well, happy birthday. Although I'm not getting any games for my birthday, I'd love to hear some of your favorite game gifts. For me, it'd have to be getting the best Hideo Kojima game, Boktai, The Sun is in Your Hands on the GBA. Micah.
How the hell did a 28-year-old get that? That's crazy.
I don't know, dude.
Wow.
He says, Micah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember the reference there. Did you shit on this game at one point?
No, I've never heard of it.
Oh, well.
I don't know what's going on.
It came out in 2003, so he was like 5 years old when it came out. Micah, Boktai is a video game by Hideo Kojima where he literally wanted people to go outside. So some of the special attacks can only be done if you go outside and solar power the cartridge.
Oh, wow, that's pretty cool. I wonder if he's referencing because when I was a kid, I got a Game Boy, but I only ever got 3 games for it.
Oh,
Actually, I mentioned that on the show recently. I wonder if that's what he's referencing.
Maybe,
Of like,
yeah.
I'm sorry, I got games and you didn't.
Maybe.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
But no, that's pretty cool. Like, wow, Kojima is always thinking outside the box, eh?
Literally outside the box. That's how he feels. He thinks of the screen as a restriction. He thinks that the corners of the screen are boundaries that need to be broken, so that's why he was putting like the codex code like in the back of the CD box, and you have to check the CD box to continue the game, shit like that. He's always thinking about stuff like that. So whatever he's got cooking with Jordan Peele and OD, I wonder what it is.
Yeah. So
it's probably another weird one.
Oh, absolutely. So as far as the question, favorite game gifts, I know I mentioned this on a show at some point, but mine has to be getting Dragon Ball Z Budokai for the PlayStation 2. That would have been 2003, maybe around then. And it was just so surprising because I never got new games for Christmas. This was the first time I got like a brand new game. And I was like, wow, I never imagined this would be possible. And then the game was so good, so cool. So that's my pick. Micah, any favorite game gifts?
Yeah, Colin got me Banner Saga Trilogy one Christmas for Switch, and I'd never played those games before. I got so like dangerously hooked. I played all 3 like right in a row. I remember staying up like way too late playing it. Like that was my Balatro of like I was hooked on those games. They are so good. If you haven't played them, the story's great. The combat is challenging and addictive. And it has one of my favorite mechanics of having to make, snap decisions that will affect like the morale of your camp, the morale of your party, essentially. It's what I really liked about the Fallen Legion games. The first two, the third one was trash. But I just enjoy that of like, okay, you come across a field of mushrooms. Do you eat them or not? Like, you're starving. If you eat them, you're obviously risking poisoning. You don't know if they're safe or not. If you don't eat them, you're risking starving to death. Those choices along the way, I just love shit like that. And so I highly recommend those games. And the Fallen Legion double pack I've mentioned before is available on PlayStation and Switch. Those first two games are very fun. It was just the most recent Fallen Legion was not good at all. I don't recommend that one. But yeah, Banner Saga Trilogy was a top tier gift from Colin, and one that I'll revisit for sure, because there are so many choices you make along the way. It could completely change the story. And it's one that I'd like to experience again and take more risks, choose different characters type deal.
Yeah. Cool. Gene, what about you?
Yeah, really the only, and I've talked about this before actually on this show, but really the only game that really sticks out as a wonderful gift was Super Mario RPG. The original one for Super Nintendo. I remember being, when did it come out? Super Mario RPG.
Is that
96? Yeah, I was 15 years old. And yeah, even though I was a teen, like my mom was still hiding shit from me because I needed to study. And I think it was around the SATs, around whatever. But I did find the game, and I ended up like sneaking in sessions of it in my room. And of course, she found out that I opened it and played it and everything like that. But I just thought it was sweet, and she picked exactly the right game that I wanted. I was a huge SquareSoft nerd, and it was Mario, so it was just perfect. And I just felt like this is the perfect gift. And I still remember the day my dad came home with a Super Nintendo. I was just shocked. He just came home with a Super Nintendo, and I was like, I did not expect this. This is crazy. Yeah, I it's incredible to think that we're just adults now and we can just get game consoles, but getting it as a gift back then was just a huge deal. It's like the Nintendo 64 kid, or the moments that go viral online. You see a kid getting an Xbox and they're super happy about it. I love that.
Yeah, dude, I love some of those clips.
You're gonna have that moment soon too, Dustin, with your kid, which is crazy.
Yeah, I've been thinking about my kid's gaming experience is going to be so different from mine, just because it will be less exciting because he's going to have access to all the stuff that I'm buying and playing. So I'm sure it'll be exciting when he like gets his own handheld device or something like that. And there's going to be games that he wants that I don't care about, but he'll be in the gaming lap of luxury in a lot of ways, just from being, my kid. So I guess that's a good thing, but it will rob him of I guess he'll be excited with me when PlayStation 6 or 7 or 8, whatever, comes out, and we'll be excited that day together. But
yeah. I my best buddy, his kid is growing up, but he's been playing Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. The kid is a huge fan of Final Fantasy 7 now. The kid's like nice. 5 or 6, and he's like, I like Cloud. Cloud is my favorite character. He's so cool. I'm just like, yeah, he was super fucking cool. It's crazy to see a kid just like see Cloud and be like, he's so cool. I'm just like, yeah, he is pretty cool. Let Cloud know that.
These last two questions I'm going to read together. One of them wrote in a very fun way, so I had to read them both. First, Austin Powell says, "Hi guys, I wanted to see what you guys think that Monolith Soft is up for their next game. Is it going to be a remaster of Xenosaga or Xenoblade Chronicles X? Maybe a new IP? Xenoblade has been my favorite JRPG series of all time, and I was hoping you may have some insight into what they might be doing next. Thanks, guys. Keep up the great work." This next one from James Hill is related. It says, "Hey, butt punchers. Gene, I don't know which is worse. Jermaine, or I'm assuming he's talking about J. Cole, apologizing and deleting his Kendrick diss, or Xenoblade X still being stuck on the dead Wii U. At least I still have the boss, Rick Ross, dissing Drake about his nose job and Beeble abs. Is this something in the rap diss game that I don't know about? Gene, do you think there's any chance Xenoblade X gets ported or remastered? At this point, I'll take X being remade as a live service or an MMO. I really need to hear Dustin say, Metro, shut your hoe ass up and make some drums. I have been lightly following this rap beef going on, because I am a Kendrick fan first and foremost, and he kind of kicked this stuff off. And I heard the Drake diss where he just made fun of him being short like 3 or 4 times, and about royalties. So it's been popping off. So, Gene, I'll throw this to you first. Whether you want to talk about rap beef or Xenoblade X or both, please.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see, the news in the gaming sphere has actually been fairly slow across like all the platforms. Game releases have been kind of slowing down, and all we have is fucking discourse about Stellar Blade's ass and Sweet Baby shit, and it's like it's clear that we need something else to talk about. And for me, I was like, I think rap is a lot more exciting right now. There's a lot more exciting shit happening in hip hop. There's actual competition. I mentioned on Twitter, but like this is just so much more fun than console war stuff, because like console war stuff, they're just like looking over court documents and saying, "Oh, look at what Microsoft said when they filed this injunction, blah blah blah," and it's like, no, Drake is calling Kendrick short, that and mention Kendrick's the wife by name in his hip hop song, and Kendrick said Jermaine Cole and Drake are not the big three; it's only Big Me. That's just a lot more interesting and fascinating than whatever, oh, well, we don't have any first party lineup this year. And okay, neither do we. And Stellar Blade or Hellblade will be 30 frames per second. And everyone's like, oh my God, 30 frames per second in 2024. It's just the same fucking discourse every fucking week over and over again. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. I'm so sick of it. Just saying the same shit over and over again. 30 frames per second in 2024? How can it be? Just shut the fuck up, everyone. God. Anyways, Xenoblade Chronicles X needs to get out the Switch. The Jermaine Cole disc and Xenoblade Chronicles X are both at risk of being lost media. We do not need this. We should preserve both in amber.
Good.
In terms of what Monolith Soft is doing, who knows? So, I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but I do think the Xenosaga franchise has a good chance of coming back, because, like Bandai Namco is thanked in the credits for Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Why? What's going on there? What is Monolith Soft doing and talking to their former employer about? So that's potentially interesting. But I gotta think that Chronicles X needs to be preserved somehow and booted up. But who knows? I don't know. It's also a weird game. It's hard to play. I reconnected my Wii U, and I was determined to play it all over again, and then I stopped because I remembered how boring the huge segments of the game can be.
Yeah. And Micah, you're about to head back into the Xenoverse. So
yeah.
I guess you still have a lot of content to go before you're thinking about what's next. But
yeah.
So
no, exactly. Because I played the first one, loved it, like absolutely loved it. So I plan to play 2, 3. And then as previously noted a long time ago on the show, that I was very generously gifted X for Wii U, booted it up, made sure it worked. It actually downloaded the update back then. Nice. So I don't have the weird issue with like the text being unreadable, because there was this problem someone had warned me about, that the text is so blurry that like you can't play the game. There was a patch for that. But at the time when they was talking about the Wii U eShop being taken down, it's like, oh, well, patches still work. And it did at the time. I put the disc in, it downloaded the update, I can read the text and everything. So I made sure the game worked. But yeah, I do want to play, 2, 3. And these are also very long games. So they're not games that I plan to play in sequence. I'll definitely play 2, play something shorter, like one of the Pikmin games, play 3, play something shorter. But for me, it would be awesome if they brought X to Switch, or if they went back to the older games, because I didn't experience those either. So whatever they have for me, I'd be thrilled. There's really no wrong answer here, in my opinion.
Those old games are rough, so they would need some touching up. So that would be a much deeper project, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Cool. Well, I guess that does it for punching up this week. I told you guys before recording, I'm going and I'm talking to, he wrote in earlier, Sean Mason. I'm doing a thing for his class after this. So I'm pretty excited about that. But Micah, what do you...
You're going to be a guest speaker at a school?
Yeah, I've actually, so there's a guy who I've done a few times now for his audio recording class that I've spoken to. And so now I think Gene has, not Gene, I think Sean has had Colin, and I think he had Maddie at one point. So he's kind of going through the line of different people. So excited to do that. But Micah, goodbye to you. And what do you got going on today?
Well, yeah, Dustin, good luck with that. Career day type activities, very important, touching the young people. So good for you, Dustin. What I'm going to be grilling some steaks tonight.
Ooh.
And I'm really excited for that. Yeah, I bought some steaks yesterday. I got corn on the cob, first of the season. It's a little early, but corn. I mean, it's warm here. So yeah, we'll see how it is. But yeah, no, I'm hyped about that. I'm going to do some prep work soonish. Like I get my potatoes chopped for the mashed potatoes. You can keep those in the fridge in water. They keep just fine. Pro tip. So now I'm excited. We're going to be barbecuing tonight.
How do you marinate your steaks?
For these, I like to do, there's a Blackstone griddle. They have the line of seasonings. I really like their steakhouse seasoning. So I don't usually do a marinade for these. I'll marinate if I do like flank steak or like skirt steak, the ones that are like tougher, more chewy. Those definitely get a marinade. But if I'm doing like ribeye or like New York strip, which is what I got tonight, then I'll do like the steakhouse seasoning by Blackstone. Buy it at Walmart. I don't know why Amazon has it like way jacked up in price. Walmart has it for normal price. That's the place to get it.
Interesting.
And that's my favorite steakhouse seasoning.
Yeah, nice. I made steaks last week, and I got like their farm. There's some kind of like high quality steak brand at Aldi. They still sucked. Aldi steaks, not good. They're not like bad as in like they're like not fresh or anything. They're just not very good. So I need to go somewhere else, get some steaks. But Gene, thanks for hanging out today, and goodbye to you.
I haven't eaten anything all day today, so I'm super hungry for. I think I might just get a nice juicy steak.
Oh yeah,
which is easy to find in DC because DC is just like the city of steakhouses. It's just all we eat is fucking steak here. So, but I might maybe I'll just go big and just get a big one. A nice expensive one.
I've always wanted to get a tomahawk steak. I know they're not supposed to be the best, but they look the coolest. And at one point, I'd like to have one of those.
You know what's really good? Yeah. Bison. Have you eaten bison?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Bison meat is so good. Oh my goodness. Like no wonder old Americans, ancient Americans, I guess, used to hunt them. Used to hunt them like crazy. That's why we did in Red Dead Redemption 2. Just hunt bison.
I've had bison burgers, but never a bison steak.
Have you had bison burger?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Those that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, they're so good.
Yeah. Dude, honestly, when it comes to like meat like that, I'll practically eat any animal. Not a dog or a cat. Of course. And maybe there's some other exceptions, but I'm down to if someone's like, "Hey, there's a kangaroo steak." Fuck it. Yeah, I'm down.
I've eaten dog before, unfortunately. It was not
I
did not know. But my grandpa fed it to me, and he just
remember that.
He pointed it out to me. He said, "You usually ate dog." I was just like, "What the fuck, dude?" It's not funny. What the hell, man? It's bullshit.
We got you, dude.
Yeah.
It's funny. It is funny talking about it now, but it's definitely very fucked up.
It is kind of fucked up.
You don't want to trick someone
he knows
with
it's fucked up. Like he knows that he's like breaking like a cultural norm by feeding this American kid dog. What the fuck?
Yeah. Damn. All right. Well, let's get out of here. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We appreciate it. Of course, if you're on YouTube, leave us a comment or whatever. Nice rating, review. All that stuff helps us out. Check us out on Patreon. And we'll be back for more Punching Up next time. So until then, goodbye. Punching Up, a Nintendo podcast, is a product of Last Stand Media and Colin's Last Stand, LLC, and is proudly recorded in the USA. The show is written and produced by me, Dustin Furman. My co-hosts are Gene Park, Dagan Moriarty, and Micah Watson. The show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. Punching Up, along with the rest of Last Stand Media shows, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer level on Patreon, our highest tier, and we're grateful for your kind contributions and generosity to our independent endeavor. Thank you.